Hey you guys, welcome to my very messy craft room. I wanted to say how excited I am and honored that I am part of this HOP, and this is Paper Crafters Unite Against Racism. This is a wonderful HOP, and basically what has happened is content creators like myself are coming together and standing behind our other crafters and influencers in the industry of color. So our things are going to be on the very end of the hop list as to let our friends of color shine. My project today is actually an art journal page, and the theme of We Are the World has just been floating around in my head. It's a song that I remember as a child, and ever since the Black Lives Matter movement has started to really take hold, it has just been resonating with me, and I just wanted to get that out on paper. I'm going to take you on that journey today with me to create that journal page. I also am participating in the blog hop as well as the Instagram hop. Make sure you go over and you check out the link provided down below for Justine's blog information and all of her stuff, because she's the one that is organizing this. And then also make sure, please, 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 you hop through and you leave lots of kindness and lots of love. Go throw everybody, if you're so inclined, a subscription. That would be awesome if you wanted to follow. But this is just a way for us to come together, stand united, and say, we are with you and you matter. All right, let's craft. I've started my journaling page, and I went ahead and stamped these images, and then I colored them in with Copic in the effort just to save some time. What I want to do from here is I'm going to take and I'm going to actually emboss the images with some distress embossing powder, as well as using the pen and then the dabber. And the reason I'm using the dabber is because I can cover quite a bit of area relatively quickly. And then I want to get that down there too. And what this is going to do is I am going to emboss some of it, and it will allow my ink and things that I put on over it to color the background to resist. So I'm just putting this out. I was going to use some of the Distress Embossing powder, but I'm thinking that I really like the colors. So I'm going to just go ahead and go over it with the clear embossing powder instead of the Distress glaze. Even though the glaze is a lot of fun as well, it does offer a little bit of color, but you can see through it. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to take my regular clear embossing and just give this a nice coverage like so. And then I will heat set it. And I ended up not using the pen. I may go back through later and add some of that. And it's okay that I emptied the whole thing out because I can save it. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set this, and we will move on to the next step. This has been embossed, so there is a natural resist on it now. I should say that, well, I don't know if I would say it's natural, but there's a resist. So whatever ink I lay down on top of it, I'm going to be able to pull it up with a wet wipe, which is very handy. It makes creating your background so much easier. And whenever you emboss, it just makes that color look so vibrant and beautiful. I wanted to go with a full-on spectrum of like a color theme. So I'm going to actually create a rainbow. And how I'm going to do that is using Simon Hurley's The Dye ink pads. First thing I need to do is I need to make sure that I don't have any more embossing powder on here. Like any of the loose stuff needs to go. So I am just using a Swiffer pad to get rid of it all. And I am going to take my rainbow colors that I have, which are going to include the Clear Skies, Overzealous, Over the Moon, Guppy, Bee Sting, and Crown Me. Those are going to be the colors that I'm going to use for this project. And I'm going to start with my Clear Skies. And I'm just going to actually start to build this into a rainbow motif. And these colors are so beautiful and vibrant and blendable that if I don't get what I want the first time, I just keep going over and over and over again until I get the right vibrancy as well as the right coverage. So one thing that I've noticed when I use these types of blending tools is you can actually get an area where you can see that tool, like it leaves a line. And I've discovered that with a dye ink pad, especially his, you can actually blend that out. So I'm going to do the first color, second color with you so you can see what happens when we go over this embossed image. So I'm going to set that aside. I may come back to it and add a little bit more color to it, or I might be really good with the coverage on it. I don't know. I gotta see. I have to go work back and forth. And so with this one, I'm going to add this one in. And as you can see, as I'm going over my embossed image, it's completely resisting it. And I embossed the little "you're badass, no one is you," so on and so forth. So it really resists everything very, very nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this step up, and then we'll come back for the next. I got my rainbow done, and I am so happy with it. Turned out beautiful. With the dye inks, the Simon Hurley dye inks in particular, I actually could go ahead and put some water on this and lift some of the color up and give some really cool drop effects, but I really am liking how this looks. So I'm not going to do any of that. I did go ahead and take my heat tool and hit it just to get the ink to dry. Once it dries, it really won't move around much, but I do need to get it dry. Also, if you noticed, my images resisted that ink beautifully. I didn't even have to go over it with a wet wipe. However, if I noticed that it was picking up tints that I didn't want, I could go over it with a wet wipe and get that vibrancy right back with no problems, because it is a resist type technique. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and put my title on, and then I'm going to write the lyrics out on the side of the song. So this is a nice 2-page. I ended up getting the title on as well as my journaling. I didn't write out the entire lyrics to the song just because some of it I didn't feel was relevant and some of it was redundant. So I wrote down the lyrics that I thought resonated with the movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. And for my title, I still need to do a little hashtag here somewhere with the BLM emblem. But for my title, I went ahead and used some chipboard pieces that I had, some thickers. And this is a little tip. If you're out of the letter E, because how many times do we always need the letter E? That's the first thing that we run out of. Take your number 3s and just flip them upside down, and that'll create E's for you. I actually had one E, but I wanted it to all be the same up there, so I just used 3 3s upside down. So I'm going to go ahead and put like the BLM down here, just so I know what I was representing, or what I was talking about when I did this. This is a paint over pen that I really like. And for your journaling, you have a couple different options. When you're on ink, it's a little bit easier to journal on. However, if you are worried about going right on your page, you can use some tissue paper, like a deli paper, write it out, and then just go ahead and clear gel it on with an adhesive clear gel. Or what I like to use is this pen. This is a beautiful pen. It works wonderful. Now, as you can tell, I do have some issue with spacing and things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in some stickles, and I'm just going to do like shoots of rainbows with the stickles. And in the areas that I don't have any writing, I'm going to add more to hopefully fill that out. I went ahead and added the stickles, and I kind of like it. I like that right here there's not much going on. It kind of provides an area for your eye to rest, so to speak. But I think it's super cool, and it really represents who I am and how I'm feeling, and how best I can support the BLM movement. And yeah, I think it's a super important time that we document in history, and we teach our kids to treat everyone equally, and to speak up when we see injustices happening. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you kind of learned something different maybe to do in your journal and art. Make sure you are following Justine Hoovy's blog. Go over and do that. That's going to have all the information. Also, I know that it's hard to capture everything in this video with my journaling page, so that's one of the reasons why I decided to do part of the blog hop as well, was because you're going to see the close-up pictures of this, and then also the lyrics written out on my blog, and then of course on Instagram. So the hop's going on over there. I hope that you join. I hope you support. I hope you find some new crafters, and you can just support this movement so that we can better our world and humanity. Until next time, I'm Betsy Golden. Happy crafting.